Good morning and welcome to the third midweek meditation in May. My name is Trish Vaughan and I hope this finds you safe and healthy and your spirits are still being lifted during this time of social distancing. When I was trying to come up with what I wanted to do for the meditation today, I went back to the study that I am doing. It's a Bible challenge that was set out by Bishop Sharma Lewis of our Virginia conference to a Bible reading challenge, and this year it is by theme rather than in chronological order. So the verse for today is Psalm 29, verses 10 and 11, but I'm going to read the whole Psalm 29 as it helps me with the context. So here it is, a Psalm of David. Ascribe to the Lord, O heavenly beings, ascribe to the Lord glory and strength. Ascribe to the Lord the glory due his name. Worship the Lord in the splendor of holiness. The voice of the Lord is over the waters. The God of glory thunders. The Lord over many waters. The voice of the Lord is powerful. The voice of the Lord is full of majesty. The voice of the Lord breaks the cedars. The Lord breaks the cedars of Lebanon. He makes Lebanon to skip like a calf, and Sirion like a young wild ox. The voice of the Lord flashes forth flames of fire. The voice of the Lord shakes the wilderness. The Lord shakes the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of the Lord makes the deer give birth and strips the forest bare. In all his temple cry glory. The Lord sits enthroned over the flood. The Lord sits enthroned as king forever. May the Lord give strength to his people, and may the Lord bless his people with peace. Well, as I said, I chose this because it was part of the Bible challenge, but as usual, it has a lot of applicability during this time as we're all dealing with COVID-19. The psalm, to me, the entire psalm is kind of broken down into sections that I saw. The first is a call to worship, and not just by the church or the temple in Jerusalem, but also by the heavenly beings. And ascribe to the Lord, O heavenly beings. That is the first line. So for the church in Jerusalem, I wonder what worship was like. I know that people brought offerings of animals and grain, but those were probably handed over to the priests who took them in the inner chambers of the temple. But I wonder what everyone else was doing. I know the Levites were known to chant from scripture, but the people, were they bowing down? Did they sing? Did they wish each other peace? Did they pray the liturgy together, like we are very much missing right now as a community? Kind of makes me wonder. But the point of the beginning part of this, I think, is that there is ample reasons to worship, and everything that is good in our world, in our nature, in history, are all gifts from God. The next part of the Psalm 29 talks about the storm. Over sea and land, it sounds like David the poet is recanting a doozy, probably ones he had experienced maybe when he was a shepherd. We hear about a lot of water probably coming over the sea and then over the land, and then winds in the mountains and a lot of thunder and lightning. But during the storm, we also see in the psalm that God's voice is heard over all of the sounds of the waves crashing on the shore and all of that. And his voice is heard over the fires and the animals. And David is describing how nature is pretty upset as this is all happening. But the Lord is over all of this. He's controlling this, and he is enthroned over all of the things that we're seeing in nature, and He is the King in power. He's the eternal King, and no one can take him down. The storm isn't random. It isn't by chance. It isn't produced just by nature. It is from God and ruled by God, and God presides over all of his creation. And maybe this is why we should be worshiping him in his temple and in our lives. He sends these things to us, but he also controls and rules over them. The next part of the psalm talks about how he will be there when the storm passes. We can be certain that God will help us pick up the pieces. I trust that God will be with me and have me help pick up the pieces after whatever storm I am going through. He'll provide the peace and help me with the consequences, and that he's always going to be there. He's never going away. That is a big, secure feeling that I can have in my life, that he's going to bless me with strength and bless me with peace after the storm. If I know that God presides over all and that he controls all, then I have no reason to doubt if he can control all of those, what we call natural phenomenon, that he can protect me and he can protect all of us, and that he can provide me strength and support. I am faithful in him, and I am confident in that promise to me, that he has chosen me and you for himself, and we are his faithful. And yes, we're sick and we're weak, but there's strength in us with Christ, because the Lord promises it to all of us. And he does this because his grace is a pure gift to us. We're justified and we're forgiven because of Jesus' sacrifice. The faithful will enjoy external peace later, when there's no more war, no more disease, persecution. There will be peace on this world. But for the faithful and those in relationship with God, we will have peace in the end forever, perfect peace, a peace that surpasses all understanding. And Jesus came to us to bring us his perfect peace. Two things are kind of clear. If we're outside of God, we're not going to have any peace. But in God, there will be perfect peace. So I hope that I and you can meet today and tomorrow and the days after that with a hopeful spirit each and every day until our very last day, when we should have the most hopeful spirit of all, because we'll be close to being with God in his kingdom. I put together a song and some images to hopefully inspire you today, and I wish you love and shalom.
Give to the Lord, all you mighty ones. Give to the Lord glory and strength. Give to the Lord glory to his name. Worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. The voice of the Lord is over the waters. The God of glory thunders down. The voice of the Lord is over many waters. The voice of the Lord is majestic and powerful. strength to his people. The Lord will give strength to his people. Yahweh will bless his inheritance with shalom.